Hi everyone! So third video review for this week is for Locked Inside by Annette Mori. If you want to check out my Goodreads review, I did just post that the other day, so if you're on YouTube there's a link in the description below, and if you're on Facebook or on my blog there's a link within the post, and this is the video review. So Locked Inside by Annette Mori. Very moving, extremely beautiful, and I've got to try really hard not to cry now because it was that moving and emotional. Carly visits Belinda. That's where she meets Belinda at this rehab facility, and she's intrigued when she meets Belinda. Belinda's sort of been trapped in her body for a long time after falling unexpectedly ill, and as a child, and now that they're teenagers, it's Carly that manages to notice that there's something trapped inside this beautiful young woman whose life has been impacted like so dramatically, and it's Carly who supports Belinda as she faces the many obstacles to finally overcome her illness and all she's been through, and support her, be there for her, and I can't tell you too much about this story because it would give away way too much of the detail and it'd be way too many spoilers, but that's just a basic synopsis of what happens. And it's really an adventure for Belinda, and I mean an adventure. It's such an emotional story, and it really tugged at the heartstrings and made me feel so much for the main characters. When Annette sent me a copy of this, because Kitty had said that she'd won a copy and she already had it, and she'd asked Annette very kindly to gift it to me, and she told me, I remember she told me when I said thank you for gifting it to me, that I was going to really love it, and it was really good, and she wasn't wrong. It was absolutely amazing and so beautiful. And so again, thank you Kitty for gifting this to me, and Annette for allowing me to read it. It really was such a beautiful story, and I really admire how Annette does this. She picks the concepts for her stories and they're never quite in the box. They're always out of the box slightly, and she really isn't shy about taking a sensitive subject or one that isn't discussed much, and underrepresented people, and giving them a voice. And I have never read anything like this, and it wasn't what I expected either. I wasn't sure what I was going to be reading, and this is why I don't like to read the blurb on a lot of books, because I like to pick it up and look at the front cover, and I like to just read it blind, if you like, so that I don't know even what to expect. And I have a completely different experience when I do that, and this story, it was absolutely fantastic, and it gave great insight into a situation that many of us will never ever experience. It's highly unlikely that we will. And I love that Annette has been brave in daring to represent this, because any story like this, it really fascinates me. The research it must take to deliver the story, but also to emotionally invest the time to portray the characters correctly in a very sensitive way, and to not misrepresent the subject, the disability, or the illness, or anything, or the circumstances. And Annette, she has very delicately and very sensitively handled this, and she's been very careful in explaining all the reader really needed to truly understand, without going into too much detail, but giving you enough to give you a sense, to give you a realization. And by using the point of view as Belinda's, you could well and truly put yourself in her place, and it really personalized the experience of reading Belinda's story and her character. And her interactions with Carly and other characters were so personal, that I really at times felt like I could be in Belinda's shoes, which is quite a scary place to be. If you read this book or you've read it, you'll know what I mean. To find yourself in Belinda's shoes would be devastating, especially if it came as unexpectedly as it did for Belinda. I don't even know how this happened to her. She just got ill, She just got ill, and it can happen to any of us. But the chances, you know. But I could really empathise and sympathise with Belinda through her point of view being the one that the story is expressed through. But I could also do the same with Carly, having sort of seeing how Belinda interpreted her actions and behaviours, and it was really fantastic to be able to feel so included and to be able to support them so intimately on their journey. It was something very unique. But I want to cry. This story makes me want to cry. I mustn't cry because it makes my makeup run, and then I've still got other things to do. I really enjoyed this story. It had so many fantastically celebratory moments to balance the more emotional and moving moments, and it just created, like I say, this all-round beautiful story, and I absolutely loved it, and hope that Annette will treat us to more from Belinda and Carly in future, because they really do have their whole futures ahead of them. And I genuinely like Annette. She writes these stories. They're so outside the box. They're so diverse. They're so different. They represent something that you just wouldn't find normally, and I can't recommend them enough. And this one I can't recommend it enough. It's really moving, and when you read it, you'll understand why. It really was an amazing story, and I'm so moved to have been able to read it. It was lovely, and I would read it again. I really would read it again. It's one of those stories. It's a story with hope. I like stories with hope. Stories with hope are lovely. They give you something to believe in. They give you something to focus on, and they give you something to put things into perspective as well. With this story, it was very perceptive in that way of you maybe putting some of your life into perspective. It was eye-opening, and it was educational and also enjoyable. It was really, really lovely, and Annette's done a great job. So I'll pop a link in the description so you can go and grab yourselves a copy of Locked Inside by Annette Mori, which I really hope you will. And if you've read Locked Inside by Annette Mori, it would be really great to hear your thoughts on it, so please comment below. Please do get involved. And if you haven't read it yet, but it's on your to-be-read list, you're planning on reading it, or you're now really interested in reading it, again, comment below, let us know, because it's always great to hear what you're reading. And if you do read it, apart from being emotional, because you will be emotional, you won't be able to help it, I really hope you enjoy it. It's a lovely, lovely story. So yeah, I really do think that if you do grab a copy, you'll enjoy it. Bye!